So, over this past weekend, on November 17th, the Master Chief arrives back on Earth with the Prophet of Truth's key ship, which has departed High Charity during the Battle of Installation 05. So, today I kind of wanted to get everyone caught up on what's been going on Earth while we've been focusing on the Battle of Installation 05 and the sort of state of this significant battle at this point in the war. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So, when we last left the Battle of Earth, the Prophet of Truth's fleet had arrived in the aftermath of the Prophet of Regret's attack on October 20th. His fleet arriving on the 21st, a day after Regret's attack. And the Prophet of Truth's forces quickly began establishing a foothold in East Africa, with their primary objective being unearthing the portal to the Ark. At that point, human forces had been forced out of the major metropolitan area of New Mombasa, and fighting across the East African region, mostly Kenya, was ongoing as UNSC forces struggled to hold back an advancing tide of mostly brute-led Covenant forces. Now, one major event that happened during the Battle of Installation 05 that would have great impact on the ongoing fighting on Earth was the Great Schism, when the brutes and elites sort of separated from each other, and the elites left the Covenant. That led to a much larger Covenant civil war that was playing out now all across Covenant space, including on the battlefields of the Human Covenant War, most notably on Earth. Now, many of the ground forces had quickly fallen under brute control shortly after the Prophet of Regret's retreat on October 20th, but the orbital forces, the naval forces left in orbit, were a mixed bag, leading to an ongoing battle between Covenant loyalists and Covenant separatists above the Earth, all with human forces mixed into that mess. So, the situation in orbit was basically complete chaos, with these three factions battling it out, and the shaky alliance between humanity and Covenant separatists starting to form, especially in the aftermath of the Battle of Installation 05. At the same time, Covenant forces had carried out several small landing operations across the Earth, attempting to seize key Forerunner artifacts and engage pieces of UNSC logistics or command infrastructure that were crucial to the defense of Earth. This led to battles like the Battle of Cleveland, where a small contingent of Covenant forces attempted to attack the city to engage and gain control of specific targets. But the Covenant priorities in this engagement had shifted from nearly every other battle in the Human Covenant War. While normally the Covenant sought to ultimately wipe out humanity as quickly as possible, surging through the planet like a massive wave of death, in this engagement, the Covenant forces were facing a much heavier struggle because of the ongoing Great Schism. And as a result, Covenant forces were more focused on the singular objective of securing the portal to the Ark. That led to the lack of a larger Covenant invasion. They didn't carry out massive invasion operations on other continents or attempt to secure other parts of the Earth for long-term occupation. Instead, everywhere else were more or less hit-and-run attacks, with the main Covenant force focused in East Africa, where the portal to the Ark was. Because at this point, especially after the Battle of Installation 05, the Covenant's main objectives were now to secure access to the Ark to fire the Halo rings, and that was really the only thing that mattered to them. And humanity was starting to catch on to that as well, taking a big gamble, focusing a majority of their ground forces on Earth in the African continent's battlefields at this point in the engagement, as they attempted to push the Covenant away from the dig site to the Ark. But by this point, the Covenant had entrenched themselves so much that UNSC forces were unable to dislodge them, and that really wasn't a surprise to anyone, as humanity had been consistently unable to force Covenant defensive positions to budge throughout basically the entire Human Covenant War. So, as human forces began arriving back from Installation 05, and the battle on the Earth started to heat up, as more and more key players of the Human Covenant War made their way back to Earth, which was quickly becoming a crucial battlefield for the Covenant because of the portal to the Ark, and for humanity for obvious reasons, the Battle of Earth really started to kick off, or I guess the Second Battle of Earth. It's also worth noting that Covenant forces weren't entirely limited to the pocket they had in East Africa, where they were unearthing the portal to the Ark. They had spread out a little bit around the area in an effort to sort of confuse UNSC offensive operations. This is most notable during a battle that broke out in Pakistan in between UNSC forces and Covenant forces, as the UNSC forces tried to get a solid lock on the Master Chief's re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, which they ultimately did succeed at the cost of the lives of many of the soldiers fighting in that engagement. Now, it's also worth noting that at this this point in this engagement, the fighting was mostly between human forces and brute forces, with the elite infantry of the Covenant Separatists having not yet really arrived on this battlefield, and they really wouldn't play a major role in this engagement until, well, they wouldn't play a major role at all. They would mainly come into play following the beginning of the Battle of Installation 00, and while Covenant Separatists would fight on Earth defending human settlements at this point in the conflict, they were a relatively rare sight. And that's the world we're going to step into later this week when we discuss some of the specifics of the ongoing battle in East Africa, talking about primarily the battles of Crow's Nest and Savo, since I've already covered the Battle of Voi in a battle analysis. If you'd like to learn about the first Battle of Earth, when Covenant forces first arrived on the human homeworld, I'll leave a link up here to my battle analysis on that. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think the Covenant Separatists really could have played a bigger role in this battle, or did they have their hands full trying to break away from the Covenant as a whole? Do you think it would have been viable for them to send infantry to defend human settlements on Earth, or do you think it makes sense that they left humanity to that and began preparing for their assault on the Ark? And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Halo or anywhere else in science fiction, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.